Hi, juniors. So today we are going to be going over the steps for our Savvy Shopper badge. That's what it looks like here. So there are 5 steps, just like with every other badge. So it says here, food and water, clean clothes, a place to live. These are things everyone needs. A closet full of shoes, a new desk, tickets to a movie. These are things people want. But how do you figure out what you need and what you want? You might find it's not as easy as you think. All right, so there are 5 steps, like I said here, and let's get started. Step 1 is to explore your needs and wants. So let's pick, so I'm gonna do the first choice here. So we're gonna go on a home tour. So basically what you're gonna do is you're going to start in the room, in your bedroom, the room where you sleep. Write down at least 5 items in each room of your home. So it can be anything in the room at all, just 5 random things. Write each one down on a piece of paper, and we're gonna cut them out. So once you've had all your 5 things from each room, I want you to cut them out into little strips and then line them up in order from the item you need the most to the item you need the least. Okay, so, and you can use, I'm gonna have a worksheet for you guys. You could just glue them onto the back of that if you want to just kind of keep them in order, or you can just put them in order and glue them to another piece of paper. That's fine too. But I want you to do that because it kind of helps us realize the things, like what we actually need. Because like when I did this, I was in my dining room and I put down the dining room table as one of the items in the room. And as I'm going through my list of things that I need and things that I want, I'm realizing that even though we use our dining room table every night, we eat here all the time, most of our meals, on my list of needs and wants, it's pretty far down because we don't really need a dining room table, right? I mean, we have a little kitchen table and that works fine too. The dining room table is kind of a luxury. It's a big fancy dining room table, you know? So when I compare that with the other things that I have, like my bed or my toothbrush or, the food in my kitchen, it's definitely far down there. So it's kind of a fun exercise to get us to remember, like, okay, yeah, I do use that all the time. And maybe I've come to kind of see it as a need, but in reality, it's more of a luxury want item. Okay, so I want you to do that. You can pause the video and do it now, or you can just do it when you're finished, but I do want to see that you've done it. So like I said, you can do it on the back of the paper or on a separate piece of paper, glue them all down. And like I said, just after you do it, read through, kind of analyze what you need, what you want, and that will be step 1. So for step 2, it says look into why you want what you want. So we are going to investigate the latest trends. So talk to a few people. Maybe it can be like your classmates, your friends that you FaceTime with or whatever, your parents. Ask each person to list what they think are the 3 most popular or trendy items. And then I want you to do that as well, what you think are the 3 most popular items as well. So after you have all the answers, make a list of all the answers, and then I want you to go through and check off things that you like too. So what we're doing here is we're going to see how much trends influence us. So it says, sometimes it's hard to tell the difference between what you need and what you want. Advertisers create exciting commercials to convince you to buy things. Or you might want something simply because your best friend has it. Think about all the forces that make you want something you may not need. So if there are similar items on your lists of things that people think are trendy, maybe there've been a ton of commercials for it and people, they get influenced by that. Maybe your list, is more of stuff that you like. I don't know, just compare and contrast and see what's different and what's the same. And then when you check off your items, I want you to reflect and think back about, why do I want these things? Does my best friend have that? Do I really like it? Do I like it because I've seen the commercial for it so many times and I know the jingle and then it gets stuck in my head and then, I'm like, hey, maybe I want that. So I want you to kind of analyze why you want it. I mean, maybe you just want it because it's your favorite color, or maybe you want, the bike because you love to go bike riding. It could be, it could be a real want for you. But that's something that as we get older, we have to pay attention to, is what's influencing us to spend our money the way that we do. Okay, so that's step 2. So I want you to do that on your own time. And I will, like I said, I'll have a worksheet for you to fill out for step 2. Okay, so step 3 is find out what makes people happy or not with what they buy. So buyer's remorse is the sense of disappointment people sometimes have after buying an expensive item. Often they've convinced themselves that they really need something like the latest video game or a new necklace, only to discover afterwards that it wasn't truly necessary. Of course, when you think through the reasons for buying something and save the money to get it, you can end up feeling very happy with your purchase. So what I want you to do for this step is you're going to talk to somebody in your family. It says talk to people in your family about a big purchase in their life. So it can be a car, it could be a house, it could be a washing machine, it could be a boat, it could be anything that's like a big purchase. So what decisions did they go through before buying it? Find out how they felt right after making the purchase, and then how they felt a week later, a month later, and even a year later. Did their feelings change at all? So I just want you to talk to somebody, jot down their answers on your worksheet, and just kind of listen, because buyer's remorse is a real thing. So it's always good to just kind of like sit with your choices sometimes before you make the final purchase, just to see, do I really want this? Am I just really excited in this moment? So, and when you talk to your family, if it comes to big purchases, they'll probably tell you that they did spend a lot of time and effort thinking and considering that purchase before they went through with it. All right. So let's see. So step 4 is learn how to decide what to buy. Even when you're buying something you need, you'll find you might have certain wants. For example, you may need a computer for school, but you want the top of the line model with a super fast processor. You may need new running shoes, but you want a famous brand. You don't just want any brand. Practice making these decisions on a pretend shopping trip. Okay, so what we're going to do is I have these 3 situations on your worksheet for you, and I just want you to go through, consider what you would do, and then jot it down. So the first one is, would you be willing to spend all your savings to buy a new bike, even if that meant you couldn't go to the movies with your friends for a year? Would you give up buying snacks for 3 months in order to buy a new swimsuit or whatever? Would you give up buying a cool new pair of shoes in order to buy 25 songs for your music player? So that's something to consider. So even when we're buying stuff, as we know, there are all different kinds. There's a whole different spectrum of expensive to more, affordable. And sometimes it's worth it to kind of compromise on price. So you can, not spend all of your money on one thing, but sometimes it is worth it to, really invest your money into something that's worth it, Like if you really need a fast computer, that might be worth it for you to invest in that if you're going to use it all the time. All right, so step 5 is make a plan to buy something you need or want. So for this step, we're going to tie this into our spending that we do with our Girl Scout troop, how we spend our Girl Scout cookie money. So I want you to come up with 3 things that we need for our troop and 3 things that we want for our troop. So the wants could be either something like for our, like end of the year party. I know we can't get together right now, but it could be however you want to spend the money. So it could be, I don't know, a virtual party. It could be all the girls get an American Girl doll, I don't know, whatever you come up with. But I just want you to list 3 needs for the troop that you would like and 3 wants that you would like for the troop. And write that on your worksheet. All right, so once you finish all those steps, we're going to review them, of course, in our next meeting, but you will have earned your Savvy Shopper badge once you complete that. And another thing I'm going to touch on real quick, because we are going to go over it next meeting as well, is our Business Owner badge. So I just want you to come prepared. Um, because basically we're going to pretend like you are doing your own business. So the only thing I want you to do for this badge at home is, like, step 1 says explore businesses you might like to start someday. So I want you to come up with an idea of what business you might want to start someday. And then we'll go over that in our next meeting, and we'll do the rest of the badge there. All right, girls, I'll see you at our next meeting.